Welcome to episode 7 of I Want to Feel Better with Terrance Greer. I'm your host. I don't want to say my name again, but I'm Terrance, if you didn't know that by now. If you're listening, this is incredible. I want to thank everyone that's been listening. I've been putting advertisements. I know advertisements suck, but placing them on my podcast really does help out. I got a couple of emails about guests this week, which has been great. And we're pretty booked. And when I say we, I mean I am pretty booked on guests with this podcast. So I just want to thank everyone that's been listening, everyone that's been giving me feedback, whether negative or positive. I had a friend tell me the other day about the mixing issues. I mean, I let some of the audio levels peak and it kind of just messed up your ears. So I will cater to that. I'll make sure that is one of the things I work on. Last episode was incredible. I got to talk to a comedian, and I mean, now that I'm like thinking about it retrospectively, it's just crazy in hindsight to see like I never would have thought I'd have an opportunity like that. And the people I'm talking to now is just as incredible. I mean, it's just like coronavirus, while being one of the most horrible things to happen to humanity in recent times, it is also crazy how it initiated me to start this podcast. And just given the environments that people are living in, or not the environments, the situations people are living in, it has given me a chance to actually talk to a lot of people that I never would have thought I would talk to in my whole life. So I guess this is a long way of saying thank you. If you are listening, I think I'm gonna start a Patreon pretty soon as we keep going, but I'm gonna hold off on that a little bit. But now I do want to actually talk about my week. I mean, this whole show has been incredible in the fact that I think just this week I realized what I kind of want to do with it. So I've been kind of softball pitching. I've been kind of saying like just pitches of what this show's about, but I never really kind of developed a character around it, if you know what I'm saying. Like I never really, I don't know. I didn't know my intended goal with this podcast. It really started as a mental health thing, but I think it's more so. I think now I realize it's more of a mental health thing for me personally, just in the fact of I'm really learning I'm very terrible with communication in real life. If you meet me in real life, I just I don't know. I just can't handle real life communication. I can't talk to people in person. Or I know what I want to say in my head, but I can't personally express it. And I think that's burned a lot of bridges throughout my life. It's made some confusion. I mean, I've confused, I'd imagine, 1,000 people just by the way I am. And I only feel recently, as in, I would say, I don't know, like maybe the last year. Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about it. The last year I've kind of realized that like, I do want to get better at talking to people. I do actually. Well, the biggest issue for me is I used to not listen to people. And I think now I'm using these interviews as a way to listen and to understand where other people are coming from. I mean, when you have a forced perspective, you kind of learn more about a person. So if I force myself, or at least I learned if I force myself to be in an uncomfortable situation, which is these interviews, I love talking to these people. It's incredible. But at the same time, I'm so uncomfortable because I'm learning that I have to do research, but then I also have to be I want it to be an organic conversation. So I'm learning how to put that into the mix, and then just actually listening and learning what people are saying. And it's crazy because the guests so far have like really inspired me. I mean, I feel like my life has changed doing this podcast so far, and it's only been like 6 episodes. So I want to thank them for that. I mean, the fact that people want to be on this podcast is incredible. And it feels like everyone's giving me a chance. And I love that. I mean, it's definitely changed my mood. It's definitely changed my tone. I feel important. I feel like I have a purpose, and it's great. And I mean, this whole week I've definitely been feeling it. Only thing though is I just can't wake up. I know it's because of coronavirus. I just like sleeping in, man. Like this has been happening prior to coronavirus. I've always been like a night shift kind of worker. And that's just with my service industry type jobs. I've always worked like night shift and stuff like that. But like, dude, I cannot get myself up like before 10. It is just 10 o'clock a.m. every day. and in a form of retail therapy, I guess. This is I'm devoting my time to saving my money just so I can expand this podcast. I really feel like there's potential here, and I really want to delve into that. But I wanted to give myself a gift before, because I just love gifts. but I got a watch. So I researched into some watches. I wanted a watch that was kind of like not flashy. I don't like flashy watches, like anything with the bling and stuff like that. That was me 2 years ago when I was making music. But now I just kind of wanted a fully functional watch that I could wear all the time. But I wanted that little tip of the hat from watch people. They're like, oh, that's a fancy watch, or like something that they would know. So I did my research and I got a Orient Bambino. So it is a Generation 2 version 3. So it's like a Bauhaus inspired. I read that on the website. I'm not going to pretend like I knew that, but it's a very minimal watch that I've been wearing and I'm like absolutely in love with. And I also bought a G-Shock. I'm sorry, this has been a bad week with retail therapy. I mean, actually, let's play a little sign. I'm gonna make a little I want to make like a little sound effect or a little bite. Here we go. So like, that's retail therapy. I'm going to be honest, that was the best soundbite for retail therapy, I think, in my personal opinion, just in the fact that when you do buy something that you probably shouldn't, but you do because it makes you feel good in the moment, feels slightly angelic, slightly like heroin. I've never had heroin, but I assume it feels like that. But I don't want to stray too far away. I will say, I think this whole conversation started with me saying how my week was. It was great. I mean, minus being in a pandemic. I mean, we're not in it right now. I think that's kind of how you live. I'm doing okay. I bought those watches. The G-Shock was okay. I thought it was gonna be subtle, but it looks like the flashiest thing ever, and I don't want to wear it because somebody's gonna rob me, and I don't want to manifest that into existence. But right now, currently, I'm looking at selling my car, and then this is a very big financial move, but I'm thinking about selling my car and getting an e-bike. So I want to get an electric bike because it's good for the environment. I'm single. I don't really have anyone to carry around. So I was like, okay, I'll just, I could live off a bike. I mean, it's like a motorcycle that goes slower, but my work is only 2 miles away. So I was like, okay, I'll just commute. It's not a big deal. But that's been my biggest, challenge this week, if I want to call it that. I've been looking at different bikes. I'm doing my research right now. It is between the Trek, and then sorry to get nerdy about bikes. I've been biking my whole life. I mean, it's what I do. But I'm between the Trek Allant 8, I believe, and then the Super 73. Now, the Super 73 is a very nostalgic looking vehicle, but it is more motorcycle based. It's more of a moped than a bike. Meanwhile, the Trek is more of a bike than a motorcycle. And they both top off at around like 35 miles per hour, which is what I really need right now. Just something to get to work and back. So I've been looking at those. I don't know if I'll pull the plug yet. They're both very, very expensive. So I don't want to make that move before the depression, I shouldn't laugh about that. But I don't want to stray too far off. This week's guest is Liam Byerly. So Liam, I've known him for years. I mean, I'm trying to think of I would even say we were 13. We played on the same baseball team. We played baseball together. We did cross country together. We ran together in high school. And then after high school, he started his clothing company. And it's been so crazy because, he is one of the original guests from my old podcast. And I couldn't appreciate him more because he always supports me with what I do. And every single time I do a podcast, he always says yes, which is incredible, and I can't thank him enough. And it's crazy to see he started Unidentified Corp, I think 2014, 15, he kind of talks about that. And it's insane how much it's grown. I didn't want to bring this up. I kind of just bring up the celebrities and stuff, but someone showed a Wi-Fi's Funeral, the rapper, was wearing his sweater, not his sweater. It was a rain shell jacket, and it fucking blew my mind in the sense of who would have thought, like, it's, and I'm not even saying that in a negative way, but just like I would have never thought like I'd ever see something like that. Like that's so incredible to see someone like flourish in the rap community, which is awesome. I mean, I've seen like Adam 22 wears shorts in a YouTube video. I kind of talk about that in there. I mean, the community has really engaged with Liam's clothing, and I kind of talk about that with him a little bit. The one thing I did laugh about that was I brought up like fashion industry stuff, and you're gonna hear it, but I was like, it was on the fly. I was trying to think of like a fashion company, and I said Juicy, and I tried not to laugh. I didn't. I kept it as serious as possible. Liam corrected me, but Juicy is no longer a popular brand. I am aware. It just came out, and I played it cool. I'm sorry. But we had a really great interview. The only thing is I had a couple of network issues. It was like we had the interview around peak time, like that's when everybody uses the internet. So it got kind of stringent. I edited it to make it as best as possible, but it's still an incredible interview. I mean, I did miss like a couple of conversations. It kind of sucks because we kind of got into it, but not in like a confrontational way, but like we were really talking some great stuff, and unfortunately I can't play it, but nevertheless, still a great interview. So today I'm going to just start it off. This is with Liam from Unidentified Corp. You could check his stuff out at unidentifiedcore.com, which is UN. Oh shit! I almost forgot how to spell unidentified. Let me see. UNIDENTIFIED Yeah, I really had to think about that one. That was terrible. But yeah, you can check his stuff out online. He also, same name on social media. And also, I do want to add again, if you do want to email me, if you want to be a guest, if you want to talk to me about something, you want me to bring something up in the podcast, you can email me personally at IWTFB podcast, so the word podcast, at gmail.com. And then if you want to check out my art, if you want to listen to the podcast, I actually have a website. It is terrancegreer.net. So just type in my name, .net. And then, I mean, that's all I got to say. So without any hesitation, here we go. My friend and the creator of Unidentified Corp clothing, Liam Byerly. Enjoy.
Yo,
How's it going?
good.
Hey, thank you for finally doing this. I know that the last couple of days have just been hectic.
No problem. I mean, I've been kind of all over the place myself, so
Yeah,
it's
same.
just. And I wanted to give this the time it deserved. I didn't I don't know how long we plan on going, but I didn't, want to say oh, I have 30 minutes and I have to run, and I'm waiting. I might have to pick this up. So I just wanted to
you should have done it. You should have done superstar status.
No,
thank you.
Honestly, I'm not.
What's funny is you've been one of the guests I've been meaning to add on in the podcast, just for the simple fact that you did the first podcast. So you did a hush time with Terrance Greer.
Yeah. 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah, it's crazy. And then now it's just insane. It's insane how much, how easy it is now. I couldn't believe I didn't do it last. Well, I was definitely high during that time, but but the work ethic has changed. But I wanted to talk to you about Unidentified specifically. So
okay,
yeah. So I usually talk to you about the company in the fact that I purchase most of your products, in the sense that I mean, it's gotten to the point now where I wear at least one item of clothing that you've sold to me. I think with every single outfit, but I don't think I've talked to you in a while about the actual.
brand business side of it.
Yeah, so the actual
yeah.
Even like I would say more so the creative side of it. So like,
Okay.
I don't know if I barely remember, but like what was the moment that you decided that you wanted to create like a clothing company?
I want to say I don't have the exact like specific time, but around July 2014 is when I really started like brainstorming.
Yeah.
And like first started doing research, because like I actually like before I started, I did about like 6 to 8 months of research of like, what does owning a clothing brand look like? What does it take? Like, how much money do you need? Like,
Yeah.
just like what type of shirts do I use? Like I did like 6 to 8 months of research and just like figuring out like how to start. But the name didn't really come to me till like even after I ordered shirts, or like right when I ordered shirts.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, and nothing's ever happened to me since like this. It's just like the name just struck me, like, and it was like, that's it. Like, and I know there's like other people like talk about like moments like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and it's so rare because I mean, I've been going for almost, I mean, I guess you could say almost 6 years. The brand is about 5 years old. I released my first shirt in March 2015, but like I haven't really had like, I get, I come up with ideas for like graphics and they'll be like aha moments, but coming up with the name was like the ultimate like aha, that's it. Like that's perfect,
Was there a specific place you were at when you thought of the name?
Yeah, I was just actually on my living room couch.
That's awesome.
And it was just like me thinking and like typing in the computer, and it was like, and the first shirt I ever did, I don't know if you have the very first one, the white one with like
I have the black
4
one.
faces.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so yeah, I did like this, the very first shirt, and it's kind of weird because like I almost don't really consider it part of the brand, but it was like the first shirt I like made to sell. It was drawn by this Canadian artist named Jerg, and it is like the first unidentified shirt, March 2015. But like, but yeah, like it was just like I thought of the name. Like I think I'd either drop the shirts off at the printer, or like I told them to order the shirts, and it was just like it was like, okay, like you ordered this, like you actually need to think of a name. And I did, and it's it's the perfect name for what I'm trying to do, and it almost like really like predicted the future, because I feel like as the brand goes on, it just continues to make more sense. Like,
so did you like when you initially started? I'm sorry for cutting you off, but so you had an intended message when you first started the brand, right?
Yeah, I think ultimately it was just like I felt like I had, like, I wanted my perspective out there.
Okay, yeah.
Like it was just like I felt like I had something to say, and I just felt like having a brand was the best way to say it. And I think, to me, what the unidentified corporation is kind of like when you think of they, like, and it could be like the government or like the elite class, but when you say like they are doing this to us, like that they is the unidentified corporation to me. And I try to be like ironic with that, like expose certain things, and just kind of poke fun at that like group that you could argue that like runs society.
See, and it's funny is I've never directly asked you about like the whole mantra behind the company, but in a sense, like all your clothing does have like a corporate entity. It feels like a corporate entity, like.
Yeah, and I mean, in a way, like that's on purpose, because I think it just works with the brand. But like honestly, like that's just kind of like, I think I do like to use irony in my work, and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna present this that's opposing something in the most like corporate way possible, you know,
Yeah.
like, and like appropriate imagery from that, like kind of like I don't know, I don't want to say like advertise, because my advertisements are always like memes, but
Yeah.
like just like I always like want to present it like super clean cut, like, but then have the messaging like subliminal
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, because I like, and this is something I feel I need to get better at, is sometimes I feel I need to explain my work, but I really, I'm the type of person that likes to just put it out there and let people interpret it in their own way.
And I kind of feel that too, in the sense of like, especially with your more ironic, like your past work that was a little bit more ironic. I felt like you could have read it as more literal in a sense, and I could have
Mm-hmm.
felt like people, like your Jane drug shirt
Mm-hmm.
specifically. Like I feel like a certain audience could have liked that in a literal sense, but then also there could be your ironic bros that think that's the most hilarious thing they've ever seen.
that that was one that like kind of has just been so crazy, like in the sense that like I remember when I came up with that, because that shirt like changed the trajectory of the brand. But
That's crazy.
I remember like coming up with that. I was just doing like digging, like doing like image searching,
Hmm.
like crazy, just that day. Like I was just like, I need something,
Yeah.
because my summer collection before that like flopped.
Hmm.
And it was like I put a lot of money into it and it just like flopped. Um and then I just was like, fuck, like what am I gonna come back with? And I think I thought of the image here,
Hmm.
and then um I was doing a logo for my friend's brand, and I met her at like a Starbucks,
Yeah.
and I think that's where I came up with the caption. But it was like very quick, and it was like I had a few different versions of it, but it was just like that's it. And then that shit just took off. Like I like doubled my following in like a week. Like my phone just was not stopped like buzzing with like orders and like DMs, and just like it was nuts. And then like for still like to this day, it's like 2 years later, and that's
Mhm.
like my most popular shirt by far. It still
That's
does really
crazy.
well at the rerun. Um,
Did you imagine that would be the shirt that would increase your trajectory?
um, I think when I made it, like I knew it was good, but I
Hmm.
didn't know that it was that like I didn't know it was going to go that crazy. It's it gets a laugh with like everybody. Like I'll go to the rerun, and then it's like there'll be like a 40-year-old lady that's like, oh, like this shirt's hilarious, and then buys it. But then it's like, you have kids that are like 16 that love it. And it's just kind of like a fun, like not too serious shirt.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's just one of those shirts that works. Like I think it's kind of funny because it's like kids like talking about drugs, and just like it's just a funny like image. I don't know. It's just all the stars aligned on that one, I feel.
And then how do you feel specifically about the media presence of your shirts? I mean, like I think the first time it blew my mind with your brand was I saw Adam 22 wearing your shorts.
Oh, yeah. That, I mean, shout out to him. Way
Hmm.
back in the day, like he was just doing these things called like streetwear reviews, where it was
Yeah.
like basically all like, hey, if you want to send in some clothes,
Yeah.
like go for it. And I just did, and then I guess he happened to like those shorts. I think he tweeted out like, hey, I want like basically I want basketball shorts, so send some in for the streetwear review. And I was like, oh, okay. And I guess he ended up liking them. I'll have to go back and like check that video.
Oh, because
but I mean,
yeah, it had to be like a BMX video or something. I believe it was a John Hicks BMX video, if I'm not mistaken. But I believe my brother was really into BMX at the time, and he showed me the video. I didn't even know it was like. He's like, you need to see this, and then I saw the shorts, and I thought it was so unfucking believable. Like, it was crazy. And then I also saw the second one that blew my mind was Rob Stone's Rolling Stone video, I believe. That was crazy. Or was it Rolling Stone? Yeah, I believe so.
I know Rob is actually wearing like the Undertaker shirt in the Uncle Ben video.
Oh,
and
that
one was cool to me because like that was like the still image of him like wearing the shirt is like on like the XXL magazine like website. So
awesome.
that was like pretty cool.
I know, it's
So,
incredible. Like, how do you feel
like,
seeing your stuff like that? Like, that, it has to feel awesome, right?
it's amazing. Like, to me, like, it's like, I think, I'm not like huge or anything, but it's always humbling. Like when I see someone wearing my stuff, like in public, even if I know them, like
Yeah.
but like, I don't take it for granted,
Yeah.
Cause like now, like I have friends that it's like, they're wearing my stuff in like family photos that are like hanging in their house, like things like that. That's just like, oh my God, wow. Like, it's just so like, I'm just so appreciative that it's been able to get to that point. Like,
Yeah.
because I know that, a lot of people try to start brands and they, go under, like they just aren't that serious about it.
Yeah.
But it's like, so I know like what it means to like wear something. So I'm just really appreciative whenever I see someone wearing my stuff. And obviously it's cool to see in videos, but for me, anybody, it's like always crazy. Like,
And then it's incredible to see. Like, I've personally, have you yet, I haven't asked you in a while, have you had a chance to see somebody that you didn't know wearing your clothing yet?
I think I have. I think, I mean, and it's weird to say like didn't know, because like there's like people that like maybe they bought it at the rerun and then they'll like come to the next pop up, and then it's like I met them, so do I,
Yeah.
like but I there was one time I saw this like homeless guy wearing one of my shirts and I thought that was cool. But like, the weird thing is like I don't see it all the time, but I get a lot of texts about it. Like I got a text today, like, oh, someone was wearing your Gucci Mane shirt at Humberto, like
Yeah.
I feel like I get more texts of other people seeing it than me seeing it. but and it's just like, damn, like I want to see these people and like thank them,
Like, I personally had my own, like, I remember, I think I told you this story. I asked if he knew you and he had no clue what I was talking about. And it was, for me, it was just like the evolution of the whole clothing company. It just gave me an epiphany. I was like, oh, this is no longer like Liam's company. This is the company,
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, and that's like a cool thing to me, because like now, like I don't know most of my customers,
Yeah.
like as before, like when it started, like it was like all my friends, and then now it's like I just get, an order on my phone and it's like so and so ordered from Ohio or Florida or New York. And the cool part is like some people I actually get to talk to, but there's a lot of people that they buy my stuff and I have no idea who they are.
What's the farthest place you had to buy from or sell to?
I think I've shipped stuff to about like 15 different countries.
Really? Jeez.
But the most like interesting, like I got an order from Kazakhstan.
Whoa.
But I've had like Poland, Japan, like Sweden,
Yeah.
New Zealand, Australia, like UK, Ireland,
Yeah.
Germany, Canada.
Okay, so it's safe to assume you've got most of the mainstream countries. That's insane.
Kind of, yeah. I think like, and that's the other crazy thing too, is like to have all those countries, and then also too, like I think I'm at about like 40 U.S. states.
Jeez.
So like at least to have gotten like at least one order, you know.
Yeah. What's your
Which
market
is
that you want to tap into? Like, what's your dream country?
I would, I think I have a lot of respect for like Japan, just to like what they've
Wow.
done for like streetwear culture. So I think you always like look to them as like a leader and like validation. It's like, if you can like sell at a store in Japan, I feel like that's huge, but then like like New York is a market I feel like I like a lot. Obviously like I love California and I love San Diego.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just for me, like just expanding as much as I can and doing it in the authentic and organic way that I've built the brand on,
Yeah. No, because I've
Uh,
always felt like you've always had a universal, like what's the best way to put it? A universal design. Like you're not too. I feel like local companies always have like a SoCal kind of Southern California type basis, And
mhm.
I feel like you kind of expanded that to be ready for like all the markets, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like I always had like a global vision for the brand.
Yeah.
And I think it can be easy sometimes to kind of get trapped in like a region or like trying to appeal to a region. And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not from Southern California, so I don't like see myself wearing this brand, or like it wouldn't be authentic for me to wear Southern California if I'm in Texas, like
Yeah.
it's like I'm in Texas. Like, so I try to not like hyper focus like region. I think, in general, I do have that very like Southern California, I guess, skate inspired style, because
Yeah.
like, especially like in the early 2000s, like San Diego is one of the like skate capitals of the
100%.
world,
Yeah.
and like just growing up in that, like you saw it. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I like it's that fine line of like just obviously like I love San Diego and the community that
Mm-hmm.
I'm in, but I definitely don't want to like limit other people from feeling like they can't participate in the brand because they're not from this region or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, that's like, I mean, I've been interviewing a bunch of people lately, and I've noticed that kind of seems to be like a similarity, like a congruent thought of the fact of that they've always from the beginning planned to expand largely.
like when you do art or whatever, like you have
Mm-hmm.
this vision and it just basically you're working to convince people to believe in your crazy idea,
Exactly. Yeah.
like because like jokingly also, it's only crazy until it's not, like
Yeah.
um so I think like like with anything, like it's like you have to see it first, and then you have to bring people along for the ride, you know?
Yeah.
But also too, you have to get better. Like, and I just mean like naturally, like when I started doing this, like my work sucked, you know?
Yeah.
And then I kind of, excuse me, I kind of like grew up with it in a sense. So like to now it's like I'm more refined, like I can make things quicker. I understand design more. Like
Yeah.
it's like for me, like back in the day, like I would make one thing and like I would spend a lot of time like making one thing. And then
Yeah.
now it's like I make 50 things and pick 10 to make, you know, like it's just a different, because I've gotten way better at design and just like, so it's like more of an editing process than like just getting to like that thing that's like, okay, I have this idea, like this is what I need to make, like or now it's just more like cutting things out.
Oh no, I understand that completely. I mean, before, like when I used to do stuff, I just remember when I first started, I think any artistic venture in general, I used to think that the first thing I made was probably going to be like the best thing I ever made. And then it took time. I would even say like 6 months ago to realize that you're going to suck, you know, you just got to keep going and keep learning, you know?
Well, I got showed this video, and hopefully I'll find it and then like we can like link it
Oh, I
in the
definitely put a link under,
description
yeah.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about, and I like try to send this to everybody. It basically talks about like the process. It's like for the first like 5 years, you suck, but you're doing what you're doing because you believe in it. And it says you have good taste. Like that's it's like,
Yeah.
you have good taste, which is why you're doing what you're doing, but you don't know how to get the result you want yet. So you need
Oh,
to
yeah.
put in the work to get to the result that you want, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and then it's like, and then everything really starts going, like when not only do you have the vision, but you have the knowledge and the skill to do things how you want to do them.
Yeah.
Like, so now in a way, like, and every year I feel like it's like now I'm just starting to hit my stride, like creative stride, you
Yeah.
know, and like, and it just feels, but really though, like 2019 was a good year for me. In terms of just like, I think I dropped like over 100 pieces.
Yeah.
Like, so it was just like kind of like a constant grind, you know, like it was just, you know, you could say that it's like that's like an item every 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
But like last year was like I just went, like just kept going, like it was just constant motion, you know, and some hit, some missed, but like it was like, okay, like I'm in a stride, like where I can,
Yeah, just to keep it persistent, you know?
and then now, yeah. And then this year's obviously been like one of the weirdest years ever, but like even that's like been inspiring though,
Yeah.
in a way. Like it's been like just so nuts, but then it kind of in a way like reminded me why I do what I do.
Exactly. I would say the same exact thing. I feel like this year has turned in for creative people. I think the best descriptive word for this year is adaptability. So like, how much are you going to change to the market, you know?
Well, that's, yeah, no, 100%. And I've been talking about that with like other people that I know in the field. It's just like meeting the customer in the middle, like meeting them halfway. Like, what do you want from us? Okay, like I want to supply that to you.
Yeah.
And obviously you have to do it like in your own way. Like for me, like I'm probably not gonna make masks, but like
Yeah.
I will do sweatsuits,
Yeah, I already burned through that
like
gray one, man. I can't even. I got too comfortable wearing those, dude.
uh but yeah, like those did really well for me. So like now I have confidence to release more, and like I sent you a lot of things that I'm working on.
Yeah, it was incredible too.
Like that was like a lot of that, and that's like one of the weirder like collection I don't even that I'll drop like in a while, but I feel like it's just kind of perfect for the times. But
Yeah.
like it's just like the jacket I sent you, I was designed 3 years ago, and then
Yeah.
all the other shirts were designed like in a week.
Yeah, I already put my name on that jacket. Are you kidding me? I bet you kind of already assumed I would want it.
That jacket, like seriously, I've had that idea for so long, and it's just to see it in the physical is just like finally,
And do you actually have like a physical copy of that jacket right now?
I do. I have.
Oh.
I don't have it on me because I picked it up from printing,
Yeah.
and then I took it to the embroiderer. So I have pictures of the printing, but I should have at least one by the end of the week in the physical.
That's insane.
So it's just like,
do you feel more comfortable in the manufacturing aspect of clothes making now?
I mean, I've been pretty comfortable for a while, because like any like business really, like it's all about like relationships,
Yeah.
and like just me in general, like I'd like to think I'm a pretty like loyal like person. So like
Yeah.
I've been going to the same 3 people, with a few like maybe one printer can't do this, or like I need it tomorrow, so like I call up someone that can print something right now. But like I've been going to the same 3 places since the beginning,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, cool to think about, but like we've built a good relationship, and I probably annoy them all to death, like because I'm but no, I appreciate them so much, and we've just built a good relationship, and it's like they know what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
They know like what style I want things in, and it's just like they they understand the vision that I'm trying to bring to life, and they're like know the best way to do it.
Yeah, it was just a compromise between 2 creatives, I guess I would say.
Yeah, like especially with, like my DTG guy, like he knows like and I trust him completely, but like every file I take to him, he has
Yeah.
to adjust like lighting and brighten. Like he doesn't have to, but he's like, this is the way it'll print the best,
Oh, okay.
like, hey, you brought me this file, it's like 99% there, like I know how the printer works, like let me change what I need to change, and then this will get you the best printing result.
Yeah.
So like I don't even, it's like you need to change it, like I don't even need to look at it, like I know you're doing like what's going to make it the best. So
Yeah.
so I'm really comfortable in that, in the
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing aspect.
Yeah.
I think for me, like the main thing, it's like just trying to constantly get better at design.
Yeah.
And then really, like for me, like the marketing and business side of it is where I probably need to improve the most.
I wouldn't even say I sometimes feel with your brand, I love the less is better approach, because
Yeah, and like it's it's tough because I feel like I've always wanted the clothes to speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, and just like, I love the less is more approach, but like, I think, and I think the customer that's buying my stuff, they don't want to be sold to. It's like,
Yeah.
here it is. Like, if you like it, buy it. If not, cool. Like, but I think like just I could be better. Like that's like an area I feel that I could improve in, and maybe not like marketing to the people that already like my stuff, but like branching out to finding the new people that want to buy it.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely because in the sense, like I've been forcing myself. I feel like creatively the past 2 years, I stuck with what was comfortable, and I feel what's crazy is I feel like I had no progress in the last 2 years, but within 2 months and a quarantine, like me being uncomfortable, I have progressed. I think 1,000 times further than I ever in my life.
I mean, yeah, no, that's like what I think like some people like David Cho would say comfort is the killer of creativity.
Yeah, I love David Cho.
And it's true to some level, like,
yeah,
but it's that balance of just like ultimately like you got to put the work in. I think that's the main. You just gotta like, especially with art, and it's like that, like the ultimate paradox in art is like to be successful at it, like you have to fully like dedicate yourself to it, but then like then it's like you basically just have to give your life to it and hope for the best, because it can easily not work out. You just like there's always like you can always go harder, I feel, but that's the thing, you never know. Like maybe you are like putting that, like, I'm not saying you, but just in general, like maybe you are putting max effort and it's just still like there's a lot of factors.
There's so many factors. No, but I like what you said exactly. Like the fact that you just said that you have to. I feel like it's a mindset that this is the last thing you're gonna do.
It's my only option, and then you have to be willing to make sacrifices and just I don't know. It's tough. And it's like I'm so far from that,
Exactly.
Like,
I feel like each day, I mean, with coronavirus, I feel like each day I am inches away from. Well, I've kind of assumed that this is just what I'm going to do. I don't know exactly what it is, just because I jump from thing to thing. But I think we'll just call it multidisciplinary artist. That's the best way to categorize myself. But I've noticed just with I think being inside all day, I kind of realized this is just what I want to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. Like for me, like I've been working every day or almost every day. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like and ever since like then, like I did like a month of designing other stuff, and then I came back, and then it's just been constant design with Unidentified. And it's like, so I mean, for me, like anytime I have an idea, like I try to just get into the computer as soon as possible. But I mean, the brain just never stops. I'm sure it's the same
100%, man.
For you. Like I can't shut my brain off. Like
and that's interesting because like you and me both went to high school together, and I was talking with I had another friend who I used to work with, and I think back then we never really even discussed the creative ventures, but I think that was just because I was high school. And I just think it was so interesting, the fact that like people think the same, but they never even, it's only until later you realize,
like I think it's important to consume as much, like just, I think even like just watch a movie and then see what color or like what font inspires you, or like
Yeah.
Just like, I just mean like if I'm designing clothes, I like to view other things. Like I don't like to look at clothes to get inspired. Like I
Yeah,
want to
no,
watch this movie or listen to this podcast, or, you know, like,
I was just
and
talking to
then
someone
see.
about like Kanye West. Like we were talking, just discussing about like the thing that made him so great was the fact that he basically chose all the things he liked and he put them
Hmm.
all together.
Hmm.
And I kind of think I agree with you 100% on what you're saying, because it's essentially the same thing. It's just like I know Kanye loved Japanese film. Like I'm pretty sure he liked Kurosawa, like which is like an old director, and
Hmm.
it's crazy how he just mashed it all together and made his own work.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, I think he's a good example. Like, I'm a huge fan of him
Hmm.
or of his. Like, and I think a lot of artists are, just because, like, you know, he's been so good for so long, and his like progression of just has just been insane.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say
and
he's our Picasso. You know?
I think he's definitely like someone that's going to be talked about for a while. And I really think the best is yet to come with him. Like, I think he's really just getting started in like in what in like his full potential.
Yeah,
Um because I mean, obviously he's like a musical genius, but I think, you know, like, I think what makes him so great is his ability to say, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to get the best people in the world in a room together to figure it out. And
yeah.
then I'm going to tell them how I see it. And we're going to figure out how to make it that, you know?
Hmm.
Um, which is, I think, what makes him so great at what he does, because he just is a workhorse and gets the right people in a room together to figure out the problem he's trying to solve.
Which is incredible because now he's moving towards like I don't even know. I would say architectural design,
Yeah, yeah.
sustainable crops. I mean, we don't even know.
Yeah, no, and that's what kind of makes it like interesting, because like it's only crazy till it's not, like I said earlier, and it's just like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, like, I'm gonna make the Yeezy so popular, like, and everybody can get a pair that wants them, and it's like, what? And then it's like 5 years later, it's like, that's a reality, you know,
it's
like,
it's crazy
it's,
to see his trends of it. I guess I could say, yeah, like his trend is always something new, which I've always respected about him as an artist.
yeah. Well, I think he's like, I know like Dark Fantasy is like 10 turns 10 this year, I think.
That's insane.
And it's like still sounds just so good, you know,
Yeah.
like timeless 10 years later. Um but yeah, I think he's like an inspiration for me, and a lot of other people. And he's doing some really interesting things with clothes right now too.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, definitely
What is he trying to do with
excited.
clothes? Is he trying to? Is it something like design wise, or is it more so like
It's more like the production, manufacturing, and like sustainability. Like he's
Oh,
been
okay,
talking about, like, I think he calls it like seed to sow. So it's like growing the cotton that makes the clothes on the farm, and then
yeah,
like producing, like, just like vertical integration, but like from the seed to sowing it.
that's insane. Do you see all artists eventually moving into that kind of realm,
Um,
or I would say
I don't,
clothing manufacturers? You know?
I don't know. I've been like doing research, like the future of clothing is very like interesting.
Yeah,
Um, in the sense that I think this whole coronavirus situation has really like expedited the process, but I think people were getting to a point like where they started to realize, like, I have a lot of shit. Like, I have
Yeah.
too much shit, like, and I know we've talked about this before, like, so you're like, people were coming to the realization I have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So how, and people were coming to the, realization of like, we're killing this planet,
Yeah.
like, so I think there's two problems that have been kind of brewing for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think the coronavirus has really expedited like the process of like, I have too much stuff and I want to be more sustainable. So what do I do? And in my opinion, I think it's a possibility that people start to buy less, but what they like really like they're
Okay.
and I think people definitely know, like, they're more conscious of where they spend their money, like,
Definitely.
because like purchases are like political in the sense of like, where is your money after going where's your money going after you spend it, like
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
like like so I think now it's like you can have a great product and like people could still not want to go there. Like, I know Chick-fil-A is an example where people are like, I don't like where the people that own Chick-fil-A are spending their money, so
Yeah.
maybe I won't go there, or like, I like what Patagonia does with their money, so I'm going to shop there and I'm going to spend the extra money because I like what they're doing,
Yeah.
um
No, it's crazy to
like
see the politicalization, if I said that right, but just how everything is politicized now. I mean, it's more so. I think it comes down to personalization. I think it's
oh
a
yeah.
I think it's a fact of everybody wants exactly what they want. It's now a world where everybody can you can get exactly what you would like.
No,
And
you can,
yeah,
like, and that's like, it's like, it's just crazy to think about. Like, I have this discussion, like, me and my dad talk a lot about like art and like just how, like, back in the day, like, like, and this was the example we used just the other day, but it's
mhm.
like everybody loved the Rolling Stones whenever they were out, but it's like they didn't know, like, that's all you knew. It's like, oh, here's the radio, the Rolling Stones are playing, like,
Yeah,
um like, now it's like, oh, my favorite band's Rolling Stones because they're cool, I see them all everywhere. It's like, now it's like everybody's like, oh, my favorite band or artist is this kid with 5,000 followers on Twitter and he lives in Australia and he does and like,
there's literally somebody on my Spotify like that. I tried to look him up, but he only has one song. I was like, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life.
but yeah, like, there's way more of like that, and it's the same for like clothing brands where it's like,
Yeah,
oh, I like this clothing brand um from New York and they only have like 10,000 followers on Instagram and they're
hmm
really cool and they're doing this interesting thing, and like, I feel like I'm the only person that knows about them,
yeah,
as back in the day, it was like, oh, everybody wears Quicksilver because that's what's in the store. Or,
yeah.
like,
It's a feeling of
so
like inclusivity, right? Like I guess that's the best exclusivity. Also,
yeah, um, but in a way, like, that's starting to be reversed. Like with like brands like Chinatown Market, like they do a really good job of being inclusive with their customers. Like,
hmm
and I know the owner talks about that a lot, like inclusivity, not exclusivity, but
yeah,
brands like Supreme thrive on exclusivity or like the false exclusivity, and
yeah,
same with like designer brands do that, um so I mean, it's just a different formula for everybody, like,
yeah.
and people just have access to more. So it's, I think,
now with that,
ultimately.
oh, I'm sorry, but like with that access, do you see like boutiques kind of still lasting, like boutique stores like Juicy, Chanel?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know if Juicy's even still a thing, but like Chanel will be a thing for a long time.
Okay.
I think big designer brands will be a thing for a long time because they have a history. And like
Yeah.
like brands like Louis Vuitton that has like 150-year history, if it probably more. I don't
Yeah.
I think 18 something, but like brands that have a long history will be around for a while because they have history. But newer brand but even brands like Supreme, they're about like 25 years old, so they're, you know, considered an old brand, even though there's luxury houses like way older.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, like, so they'll always be there. There's just like kind of a new, or there's always going to be the brands that will be there forever, and then there's going to be the revolving door of like what's in and what's out. And
Okay, that's crazy. That's a crazy way to put it.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably maybe not describing it that well, but there, you know, like,
yeah,
like that's just kind of how I see it. Like,
yeah. No, what kind of trends do you see coming back in? I feel like I have no expertise on clothing, but I'm noticing like a uniform type of a vibe coming back. Like people are getting, like you said, getting used to buying less, and I think with less it becomes more like singular. You know?
yeah, like I think in I don't know. I really try to not follow trends.
Yeah, which is great
Like,
about you, by the way.
and that's like I didn't have like a personal social media account for like over 2 years. Like I think I just got back on Instagram
Yeah,
as myself. So like I was out of the loop for a while, and I still am.
yeah,
Because I just really try to focus on like what I'm trying to do,
yeah.
not follow trends.
Oh, okay.
And just like kind of like I don't want to be inspired by other brands because then that makes me similar to other brands. Like I want to do my own thing, like and like be inspired by the real world, or like
Yeah,
a current event or an idea, like, or a font that I see outside, you know. So
yeah,
that's where I try to keep my inspiration coming from. But I think like I think kind of the sustainable like is something that could be in. And I think like you see Kanye, like he just wears, you know, blank clothes with like a nice pair of pants, like a good pair of pants. Like I think he did a GQ interview and he's wearing like a $20 pair of pants.
That's
Like, and
incredible.
then
He wore
like
an
a fleece he
Eisenhower.
designed. He wore an Eisenhower jacket to the Met Gala, and it like it's like Dickies is obviously a legacy brand, and they make good stuff. I mean, they make a good work jacket. They don't make the highest quality work jacket, but it does the job. But I could
Yeah,
definitely see like the, you know, like the minimal wear that you could wear forever. And maybe you buy $1,000 jacket once every 5 years instead of $300 jackets a year, you know.
yeah. No, that's crazy to even. It's crazy to even ponder about because we don't even know what's going to happen like in the next 6 months. You know?
Well, that's the like even in the past like 2 weeks, it's been like crazy. Like like I feel like 2 weeks ago it was like, okay, this year's a wash, like we're closed till, October, and it's like, and now it's like, fuck, I'm late, like I
Yeah.
need to put the pedal on the gas, like, and really start pushing stuff out,
Yeah.
um
No, it's
so
crazy.
I don't like, and at the start of this, like, I know luxury has been suffering, but I think, the brands that are doing good work and got into it for the right reasons will be fine.
Okay.
Like, that's how I've felt since the beginning of this. Like, the brands that have done that will be fine. Um, I think the brands that are going to struggle the most are like those, I'll call them like mid-tier brands.
Yeah.
Where it's like they have employees, like they have a lot of money invested, and like they would have had, like a lot of money invested in like spring, summer, and like they depend on stores to buy their products.
Yeah.
Like they depend on wholesale because they make stuff like, you know, nine, they sell stuff 9 months in advance. Like they're all in advance. So like all the
Hmm.
clothes that should be in stores now were ordered in like September 2019.
Oh,
So
okay.
like like the brands, it's like, oh, we just invested $300,000 in our spring collection, and oh shit, now we're not
Yeah.
selling it, because it's not in store. So I think those are going to be the brands that suffer the most. The
Hmm.
brands that have built like an authentic direct to consumer relationship are going to
Yeah.
be fine, and the legacy brands like Gucci and Louis, like they'll take a hit, but they won't, they'll obviously survive. Like,
Yeah.
um,
No,
but I
there's
don't know.
just
Like I was reading an article, and it's like luxury actually went up in like 2009. like
really.
like uh like 2008 was like the year that like was the recession, and it's like luxury went up 1% in 2009. So it was like it, even back then they didn't take a crazy hit, but I feel like now like they'll be
Yeah.
fine, you know.
Yeah, I think someone might get scared and want like a paddock watch before they die. But
Well,
it's
I mean, there'll always be a market for the best. Like
I think
that's
if anything, it's made coronavirus has just made I think the class system more transparent. And I'm like, oh, okay, so people do live in a whole different league. But at the same time,
yeah.
it's I mean, I guess that makes sense with the statistic you told me that like luxury did increase. I mean,
That was like in 2009, but
yeah,
yeah, like it's like the people that and now like luxury is more accessible than it's ever been, but it's like the people that can afford it, like can afford it,
yeah,
like they'll be fine.
yeah. But that's good. And I did want to ask too, like, because I'm gonna start to wrap this up, but like, what's your goal? I know this is a very big question. It's a very big and loaded question, but like, what do you
Hmm.
see specifically with Unidentified Corp? Like, what do you see what would you like the end game to be? I guess I should say.
um I I think I just want to keep this brand going as long as I possibly can. Like like the ultimate goal, make a living off the work that I do.
Yeah,
Um, be in the stores I want to be in worldwide. Like a good range of boutique shops, and just continue to grow and just continue to be authentic and deliver messages I want to deliver, continue to have better quality clothes,
yeah,
in terms of design and the actual quality of the garment. And just like not be something that I'm not, like just be true to what I am. Like I'm what I would consider myself to be like a true like streetwear brand. Like
Without a doubt,
just
yeah.
be that, like, and not try to be like something else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No,
that was probably the best answer.
Like, well, like I'm really like the legacy of the brand like means a lot to me. Like, and I always like try to make things that will look good like in an archive. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
To where like you can like look at like hopefully in 10 years like you can like look at all my stuff and like it all like makes sense. Like it's timeless in the sense of like it makes sense, and like it made sense for the season, but it really fits into the overall like image of the brand.
Yeah. And this is a perfect segue too, because I want to just segue. I want to finish this up. I like to ask at the end of the podcast, just for this one specifically, I interview people that go through creative endeavors. And I wanted to ask you, what kind of advice would you give someone, whether it be clothing or movies or music? Like, what would you give them? What kind of advice would you give them if they wanted to pursue it?
The advice I always give people is do it because you love it. Like, don't be afraid to be bad. And just put as much work in as you can. Like, and just like look at the progression, like not the results. Like,
yeah.
Because the results take a while, you know. Like people that are successful in art, like they just show up every day, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and get their ass kicked, and it's just showing up, and eventually you'll be in the right place at the right time if you do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I think that's perfect. That's probably the best piece of advice someone's given so far.
But yeah, I mean, and understand why you're doing it. Like,
yeah,
like and believe in it, you know.
I mean, that's the best advice. I mean, I'm still learning why I'm doing it too. I guess that's really good advice, because I still need to understand why I'm doing everything. I think it's an intuition more than anything for me, but breaking it down is the key right now. And I think that's why I made this podcast, is to talk to different people, to pick their brains about it. And it's been working so far, let me tell you.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, Liam.
Conversation is another huge inspiration for me. Like, it's good to talk to people. Like, it gets your brain moving, and
I get so amped after these interviews, dude. Let me tell you.
No, so am I. Like, I'm like, what, you know, it just is exciting to see what's next. And like, I know we did like interviews 4 years ago, and you know, we can go back and listen to that, and then now we have this as it's like a timestamp.
Wow. I would love to.
And then now we have this interview we just recorded, and then in another year we can, you know, see what's happened since. And
that's perfect, because I feel like we are both reflective in the fact that we're both going into separate industries, but we're both in the same, I feel like, creative path, you know?
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Like, I never would have thought I would have interviewed, like, I interviewed a comedian last week, and it was incredible. Like, and we got some cool people planned up too, but like, it's just crazy. I never would have thought the podcast would progress this far, you know?
Well, I mean, it's just, like showing up every day.
Exactly. But thank you, Liam. I appreciate everything. Is there anything you want to plug before I end this Zoom call?
I mean, new products coming soon. I don't know when this is releasing, but always new products coming soon. Follow the Instagram at Unidentified Corp. The website is www.unidentifiedcorp.com. And those are the main two plugs.
All right, perfect.
I think short and sweet. New products on the way.
All right.
Always.
Excellent. And I want to thank you so much, Liam. I mean, through all the time constraints, you always pull through, and I appreciate that.
No, glad we can make it work. And like I said, I wanted to just, make sure I had time to really think and like do it.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, Liam, I will talk to you later. You have a great day, and thank you so much.
Sounds good. No problem. See you soon.
Congratulations, you have finished this 7th episode of I Want to Feel Better. I hope you feel a little bit better. That was a great interview. I want to thank you for listening, even though there were those, kind of network, kind of bendy noises that were annoying, but hey, we did it. So next episode will be coming out next Thursday, every Thursday. Make sure to check that out. You can go on Spotify, all streaming platforms. And right now I'm going to play a song that I made and I didn't know what to do with. So I'm going to just play it at the end of this podcast. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.